everybody, this is Traci Chen and welcome back to my channel, My Great Australian Dream. We talk about all things migration here, and believe it or not, yesterday there was an invitation round for the 189 visa. So yesterday on the 21st of January, pretty early in the morning, we started receiving all these emails in our mailbox for invitations for the 189 visa. I actually couldn't believe it. I mean, for us, we've seen a little bit of 189 invitations here and there, but not too many. So this is actually really exciting. So I want to do a video, a refresher on how to apply for the 189 visa and a little bit about my experiences on applying for this visa over the last few years. When I called some of my clients to tell them they got invited, they were shocked. So first of all, here are the basic eligibility requirements. Firstly, you need to have the relevant occupation on the relevant skilled occupation list. Now, the occupations that are available on the 189 are generally the ones that are on the medium term list. So they could range from anything from accountant to civil engineer to registered nurse to medical practitioner, as well as some of the less popular occupations such as management consultant or a life scientist. Now, the next thing you do need is a skills assessment. Now, skills assessments are issued by the relevant skills authority in Australia. Depending on your occupation all different authorities assess it. So to give you some example, if you are a software engineer, your skills are assessed by the Australian Computer Society. If you're a management consultant, your skills are assessed by Vet Assess. If you're an accountant, your skills can be assessed by Institute of Public Accountants, IPA it's called. Then there's CPA as well as CA. I'm sure all the accountants know who they are. Now, it doesn't matter whatever skilled migration you are applying for, you must have a skills assessment. There is no waiver for it, you must have a skills assessment. No deal. So I'll leave a link below. You can have a look at the occupations that are available as well as the skills assessing authority for it. Two of the occupations that are a little bit different. One is for doctors, so you're a medical practitioner or any specialist. As long as you have a full registration with APRA, that is a full skills assessment. The second occupation would be for lawyers. If you have a practicing certificate, that is considered your skills assessment. So again, it's different for every single occupation and there is hundreds of occupations on there. So check out the link below for more information on that. The third mandatory requirement would definitely be English. You receive different points for your level of English. However, the very bare minimum is most definitely competent English. Now that's equivalent to 6 in each band if you were to sit the IELTS test. That is the absolute minimum. As you guys know, this visa is based on invitation only, so you have to be invited to apply for this visa. So let's have a look about how you can be invited to apply. You must satisfy the points test. Now, if you have a look on the website, it says that you must have 65 points. However, because of the competition and because there's just so many people that have applied for expression of interest they call for this visa, it's very, very unlikely you would get an invitation for 65 points. Yesterday, I put up a video about, my clients being invited and everyone was like, what occupation, how many points? And to be honest, it was healthcare workers that were invited yesterday. And my doctors and nurses that were invited had like 90, 95 points. However, to score 90 to 95 points is most definitely possible, so I'll go through that with you. So your best friend for this visa would be the points calculator. And this is how you would start calculating your points. First of all, you would look at your age. Now, because this is a skilled visa, the idea behind it is that if you are of a certain age, you will be the right age to kind of migrate to Australia and start working and contributing to this country. So there's different points awarded for different age groups, but the maximum is if you are between 25 and 33. The prime age is if you are above 25 and below 33. So as soon as you've turned 25, you can claim the maximum points, which is 30 points for this. And you have to be under 33. So 32 and 9 months is okay, but as soon as you hit 33, you fall into the next age bracket, which you lose 5 points. So for this part of the points test, if you are 34, you would only collect 25 points for it. The next they award points for would be the English language requirements. So as I said, the bare minimum is competent English. However, again, as I said, because of the competition, you really need to be aiming higher to increase your points. Now, if your English is good, this is kind of like an easy way to get more points. So for example, if you had 7 in each band in IELTS, then you would be able to collect an extra 10 points. And if you had the maximum, which is equivalent to superior English, you would be eligible for an extra 20 points. So let's have a look. If I was 26 years old and I had scored superior English, so far I have already collected 50 points. But as you know, the minimum is 65, so I'm still a little bit far away from getting an invitation. The next criteria they look at is the skilled employment. So for example, if your occupation was accountant and you had work experience, you could collect points for that. However, the points is calculated differently for work experience that was overseas as well as work experience that was here in Australia. So for example, if I had 3 years of work experience overseas in my home country, say China, I'm Australian though, you would be able to collect 5 points. If you didn't have any work experience, you'd be collecting 0 points for that. The next is if you had work experience in Australia, which are worth a little bit more in terms of points. So if I had 1 year work experience in Australia, I would be able to collect 5 points already. If I had 3 years work experience in Australia, I can collect 10 points. The next is that you are rewarded points for your educational qualifications. So there were reward points for diploma or PhD, but as most people, you could be awarded points for completing your bachelor or your master's degree. So let's say I'm an accountant, I've completed a bachelor of accounting, I'll get 15 points for that. If after you completed your bachelor degree or master's degree and you went on to do a master's of research, you also can collect some extra points for that. But let's just say I didn't because I'm only 26, there's only so much I can do by this time. So far, taking into fact the 50 points from before, I have 1 year of work experience in Australia, that takes me up to 55, and I've completed a Bachelor of Accounting, so that takes me to 70 points. The next would be that you're awarded 5 points if you studied your degree in Australia. Now, yes, I studied my bachelor degree in Australia, so extra 5 points there. Next is if you studied your degree in regional Australia, you get another 5 points. So obviously the government here wants to encourage students to study in a regional university to boost the, population there. So for example, if I studied at the University of South Australia or perhaps Wollongong University, I'd be rewarded an extra 5 points for that. You can also collect points for NGATI. NGATI stands for National Accreditation Authority for Translators and Interpreters, I think. NGATI, anyway. We all know what it's called. NGATI CCL test. I'll leave a link below to how you can check out if you're eligible for it. I can't remember how many languages are actually offered on there, but basically it's a translation course from your language to English, I think. So if you are from overseas, you have your mother tongue, say for example, you're Chinese or you're from India, it's a pretty good chance that you do know how to speak, read, write your language. So I always tell clients, it's an easy 5 points, why not go for it? It never used to be offered online, but recently because of COVID, they've just started doing that. Now, obviously for the 189 visa, like any skilled visa, you can include your dependents on there. Now, children under 18 is not so much an issue. However, if you do have a partner, it can affect your points. So if you are single, you get an extra 10 points for being single. Wow, it's so awkward when I ask clients, are you single? I mean, most clients do know, they understand why I'm asking, but it's just so weird. But obviously I have to ask because it's kind of like, are you single? Can we add the extra 10 points? If you do have a partner, you lose those 10 points, essentially. However, if they can score competent English, which is 6 in each band, then you get an extra 5 points. And if your partner can also get a skills assessment, say for example, your partner is a civil engineer, they can go to apply for a skills assessment with Engineers Australia, then you'll be able to get another 5 points, which equates to the same amount of points you would obtain if you are single. So a lot of the time, my clients, their partners can get the skills assessment as well as English, but there is sometimes, they're only able to get English because, of the occupation or something. So you essentially have 5 points less for that one. Anyway, so let's just say for the purpose of this, I am single, so 10 points there. Now, the last thing that you can claim points for is if you completed a professional year. Now, professional year is a little bit funny. It's not available for all occupations. So for example, it's available for accounting, it's available for engineering, it's available for IT occupations. And I think that's it. So if you are in another occupation, like I mentioned before, like a nurse or a doctor or a lawyer, there's no professional year. So you wouldn't be able to claim the 5 points for that. But let's just say I'm an accountant. I went and did the accounting professional year as well, which costs about, I think, $12,000 or something. And I'll collect an extra 5 points for that. So let's have a look. As a total then, drum roll, that takes me to 100 points. So I think a lot of people can actually achieve 100 points, and 100 points is huge. I mean, that's 3 digits, that's huge. Most of my clients that were invited in the last invitation round, so a couple of days ago, they had 95 points essentially. So that's how you collect the points. Now, based on that, that's how you complete your first expression of interest form. So you go in, you create a login ID, and you enter in all your details. Now, the only thing to be very careful of is that you enter in everything correctly, because if you are invited, that form is locked. You can't change anything. And just like in my previous videos, a lot of people didn't understand how you could collect points for, say, example, work experience. So for example, if I was an accountant and I said I had 1 year work experience, that work experience must be post-qualification and it must be as an accountant. I can't claim it if I finished my degree, but I was working 1 year as, say, as a bookkeeper. I wouldn't be eligible. So you got to be really careful about that, and that's where you really need to get proper advice and everything, because you may work so hard to collect all these points and do all these things and you get invited, but if it's not done properly and you collected points or overclaimed points, you would definitely get a visa refusal, which is a huge shame because all this money has gone into all this, not to mention time. So I think that it is very important. And my clients are great. They kind of understand why it's so important to kind of see a migration lawyer or a migration agent before you do this, because you've already spent so much money here in Australia. You've spent so much time practicing for English, practicing for NGATI, whatever it is. The last thing you want is to, get it wrong essentially. So I do recommend getting the advice because there's so much at stake essentially. What would happen is once you complete your expression of interest form, you would wait. Now, a lot of people always ask me, okay, I've lodged it now, how long do I have to wait? Unfortunately, there's no time frame of it. It's not like, oh, I lodge it and then after X amount of time, I'll be able to get an invitation. It depends on demand, it depends on the flavor of the week, what occupation is in demand in Australia, and maybe sometimes even location. Over the last 2 years, because of COVID, I don't think any overseas applicants were being invited. I think just before COVID, there were some, because I heard, some clients that just got invited while they were back home, just before everything, went to what it is now with COVID. So, a lot of factors play into it. So how it works is, it's not like once you lodge it, you wait a certain time and you'll get invited. It's once you lodge, it's like sometimes luck of the draw. If you are lucky, you'll get invited. So what I always say to my clients is that, yes, this is great and we're gonna go for it. And with people being invited recently, I'm a lot more hopeful for this. But there is other visa options out there. You should explore them. Go and get the proper advice to see what visas you're eligible for. If you are someone that can get a lot of points, then maybe yes, this is the right visa for you. However, if you're someone that can't collect as many points, but you already have an Australian employer, then you should be going for employer sponsorship. Employer sponsorship is a lot more reliable. It's kind of more like, okay, I lodge it now, how long do I have to wait? Well, depending on the occupation, it could be 2 weeks to 5 months or whatever it is, and you will get the visa as long as you meet all the requirements. So you don't always have to go for the skilled visa. And one thing that a lot of people need to understand is that the skilled migration program is designed to fill skilled shortages in Australia. So absolutely, there's all these occupations on there: mechanical engineer, accountant, management consultant, doctors, lawyers. However, they do want you to have the job in your field because it's a skilled visa. So you're here to fill the skill shortages in Australia. So if you're not kind of working in your field, you haven't collected the points or whatever it may be, it's not ideal for this kind of application. Anyway, if you are one of those lucky ones who does get invited, you will get an email saying, congratulations, you've been invited. You'll log into the portal and you'll see this thing that just says apply for visa. Now, your expression of interest is already locked. So if you entered anything wrong, then you can't change it. So if you overclaim points or, I don't know, said you're single when you're not, you can't change it. However, do remember this: there is some things that you can fix as long as the points remain the same. So the most important thing here is that the points will remain the same if you are changing anything. So I had a client who, when he applied, he was single and he forgot about the application. Then when he got invited, he was married, but he didn't update his application. But lucky for him, his wife had English and the skills assessment, so it didn't make a difference in the end, it was fine. So the key thing here is the points. You hit the apply visa button and you'll be able to apply for your visa. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. My name is Traci Chen and I'm an immigration lawyer based in Australia. I do have my own firm. It's called Maison Chen Law. If you are someone who is very interested in migrating to Australia, head over to our website. You can subscribe. We send out migration updates all the time. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe, share with people who need it, and also turn notifications on because migration changes like so quickly. Sometimes I'll be busy doing something and my colleagues will be, oh my God, Traci, this has happened, and I gotta stop what I'm doing and I'll go and post a TikTok or Instagram video or something like that to tell everybody, and I will be doing that with YouTube. So turn your notifications on so you don't miss out any changes. So we're always ahead of the game. Thank you so much for watching and have a lovely week ahead.